corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness.
Yeah, you show it.
"You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
What a nerdy way to describe a snake. January 9th, so it's, you know, sometimes gone by.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was...
That's a classic there. Locked room with the death inside.
A locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
What is wrong with my man's skin?
And what do you think you're doing here?
Da! No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. And in cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you? And where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes.
And that means I'm the best by extension, since I'm the only one. Ugh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait. I can't move. Ah, what the... Why am I in handcuffs? This is a recurring problem, huh? So you wake up now, huh? We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. Okay. You are a true cold-blooded man. You. Ah, you found me then. Duh, we found you. And now you pay. Criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, Ugh, sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Mr. Sato? Man, getting accused of murder twice in 1 year, or even less than that, but you know. Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? I knew it. Ha! You pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama was. Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Fucking called it. Here, in this very cabin that was bolted from the inside. His body. Please. Do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. No. We used every space in the text box for that one. Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey! Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain, but if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't think anyone will discover you. Ugh, I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could have confided her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about time the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We'll leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Duh, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No? What? I mean, yes, I did stow away, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try and find out what really happened. Kazuma's death. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. Y'all need to read more detective stories. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside the cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? Right there. Like, right fucking there, actually. This is impossible. How did he die, then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Sasato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted on our next port of call. So presumably that means there was no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. About the incident. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were in here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. Simp! But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea that anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard for me to believe too, trust me. This is the second time this is happening to me, dog. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Are you going to ask why I did it again? My head feels so heavy. Stowaway. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhata-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yeah, I'm afraid that's true. I am a filthy crime boy, as you can see. It's been 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, you stupid bitch. That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been weighing on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I, that you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. Ah, the good old days. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. but something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes, then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you, my stowing away on this ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. Right on the money, Chief. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. Last night. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night in here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yeah. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed. Well, yeah. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I might be a filthy crime boy, but I'm not a murderer. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Ugh. That's what they said last time as well, isn't it though, Susato-san? And I wasn't a murderer then either. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry. But Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how they did it, and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hiya! Oh, fuck. She gave us the old tornado twist. What the? That was a Susato takedown. Have you strung me from the ceiling? This is an odd angle. Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need to prove it. Need you to prove it. Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to? Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting me to present some kind of conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. Paper seal? Yeah, paper seal, because that was on the outside while I was inside. I couldn't have put it there, could I?
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the door? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it up in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or someone decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that side from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-san thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? What the fuck is this? Is it a fucking bone? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. Well, if you're not prepared to rule that out, why aren't you prepared to rule that out? Why are you prepared to rule it out for the door, huh? What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's find some crimes. Please, don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you to use your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, let's get examining. Cosma, I swear I will avenge your death. No, we got examining to do. So, first off, what's this? Did Cosma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Cosma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhado-san. What? Then what language is it? It's Russian, you dumbass. It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forgot to look around properly. Ah yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you? Uh-huh, I've already figured that part out, thanks. Yes, let's do that. So, what's this boy here? I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator, a hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. Ah, my man's ran a string through. I've gotcha. He did the dirty crime, tied a string to the handle, went to the or tied a string to the handle, tossed it through here, went to the other room, and then closed it with that. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air to flow into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that. I suppose. Maybe that's it. Alright, closet time. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So, yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. I mean, you could have locked the door, surely, instead, and last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening in the cabin. No, sadly not. Alright, desk time. This is where dear Cosma-san would have sat whatever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Cosma, he didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete, which means, what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Do you fucking mind? I'm trying to read the words on an open book. What? Cosma-san may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important, something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. You are the stupidest bitch I've ever come across. Poor Cosma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, it isn't the need for clues more important. Sir? Sir? Sir, this is a Wendy's? What are you doing? As far as I can tell, he looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I've no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall, suspiciously tall. Naruhata-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. That's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating his Cosmo desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Sasato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case. If you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. I gotcha. Let's get that man. Sir. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Do not make eye contact. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Ah. What exactly were you doing on Cosmo's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry, what do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh, yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not Watson, dog. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true. But how? How the deuce did I know that? Perhaps. It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There's no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. I'm feeling like we might not be on the same level as the regular Holmes. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. Dog, what the fuck are you talking about? We're not playing Final Fantasy. And when the Barry bonded occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that surmises the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person with that fits that bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. You know I'm not Russian! What the fuck's wrong with you? What? And you're plotting a revolution too. What is the matter? It's shameful behavior. Absolutely wicked. Listen, there's no... Oh, Jesus, here we go again. Back into the fucking blender. Explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you did find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, sure. Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you make of that? Well, to be honest, This ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it a deduction, it's more plain observation. Indeed! And observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all good deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude, and more often than not, I am right. Huh. Yeah, there's this other Sherlock Holmes game that is made by the Frogwares, and you play as Holmes in that, and you can actually just accuse whoever the fuck you want, and the game won't tell you you're wrong, because, like, you're Sherlock Holmes, so obviously whatever you say to the police, they just believe, regardless of how stupid you might be. And I love that idea, you know? I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes. The very same, the inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Sherlock, was it? No, 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 I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Holmes. You can read all my exploits in this exciting London publication. What the fuck does it... It looks like it says The Racist. Or I'm just fucking stupid. It's very tiny. Ah, yes, Rand... Oh, Rand, of course. Magazine full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah, yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am! And you've read so many of your own stories you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backwards. Backward. My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment, I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of the muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a term both for observation and deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Cosma's deaf. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right! It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among the members, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yeah, you really look like you would have blended in. Luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Holmes was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? 2 facts, you say? Mr. Sholmes, tell us please, what 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into the cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma-san was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderob may be the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least, where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so! I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is that I'm the Russian, too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And, if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the trash. You are the most gullible fucking... I'm about to throw you in the goddamn ocean. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Does it say anything different if it's upside down? No, because it's like Russian script. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yeah, thank you. The photograph. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, did you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome Russian revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that. Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning, do you think? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian. Your deduction. Can we talk about your deduction? I skipped over that too fast, that's okay. The now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads: Revolutionary villain Borshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of the crime was the same merciless revolutionary, the one who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Villain Borshevik. No, how can it be me? I don't look anything like this man, just look at the motherfucker. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learnt to revolutionize your appearance as well. Oh, please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims and the blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all these particulars in the article. The deeds the man had perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Borshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Borshevik is recently returned after a period of subservice activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself as a little momentum of this great deduction. Thanks. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. Fantastic. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well, on the back. Cast your eyes over it sometime if it interests you. It's all written in Roshan. I couldn't hope to read it, but I suppose it couldn't hurt to take a glance at the article. Please open that boy up. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this too? I don't know, I can't make any sense of it. I'm glad you noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. It pops up everywhere, this Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from the dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm not quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money. Sato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of Novovich Ballet, and it would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They're requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russia thing, doesn't it? The Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright, good talk. What were you just investigating? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe, for a moment, the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic! And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, we are communicating right now, so he kind of has to. You're about to know what a Sasato takedown is. Nope. Sasato-san. Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray, be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Ah. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was all that showing off about before, then? If you would be so kind to show me, I would be happy to read it to you. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. The final entry here in Kazuma-san's diary consists of 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound. These are very deep waters. Pray go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Oh, a speckled band. What on earth does that mean? So he got snucked? He got snecked? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say. The man was presumably referring to the lattice on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So, yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think, perhaps, that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrists should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in the matter. No. There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what, were you looking at my knees? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you standing there for? Huh? We must go and investigate the cabin next door. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? Hiya! Oh, Jesus Christ. Not again. After Kazuma-san spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? Ugh, as if you gave me any choice. I think we still have some investigations to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for the chance to slip next door. Good idea! The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself, and I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Alright, examine. What's going on with this bad boy? What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket around like this with him, would he? And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere in this cabin. Okay. We didn't investigate the ink. Okay. Never mind. So, sword. There's Kazuma-san's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Alright, what about this boy? Okay, fine. This, What about that? That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious. You fucking ate the chicken down to the bone, though? Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? Not a dog, said Sato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right, but so he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Not table. Oh, there we go. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I am an innocent man, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship? Look, there's some, I'm not a murderer, alright? Look, now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. Picture? Nope. What about this? There are rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria. Buria? I don't know. It's essentially a list of requests from the cabin to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? What are you staring at me? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? Well, I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. What's going on with this? The books must have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they're all toppled over the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mown down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt that. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books in a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Well, this has not illuminated anything to me right there. It's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. Excuse me. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Sasato takedown. Alright, what else we got? Talk to this lad. Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is true, I see. Sorry, the criminal asking prison guard to help him escape. Very funny. We're in the middle of the sea, there's no chance of escape. Nyet. You stay in cabin until next port, then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what to do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. Alright, well, have we got anything left? I mean, we must, obviously, but what is it? Already looked at that. This? Okay. This is... yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. This explains that half-broken bell over there somewhat, I suppose. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. Nope, guess not. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. Alright, well, what else? Looked at all that. Looked at all that. Looked at that. Oh, I can look at the door. Alright. When I went for help, the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out from the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all the way down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across the outside of the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself, but the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using a needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. And when she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Hello, sir. Oh, look over there. The crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Is that Hosonaga? Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again, but I suppose I could try. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right, he does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? What's up, bro? I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew on board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. I can't tell you or I'd have to kill you. You know, this is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asagi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this, overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asagi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that have even been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said that we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asagi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover. Why couldn't we do that exactly? Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not on the first-class deck. I've failed miserably at my assignment, and Asagi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize, Inspector. So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer. Of course not! We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, we need to be allowed to leave this cabin? I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety, if you moved even to touch the handle of the door. That stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two, I suppose. Not just a stowaway now, they think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had. Evidence. Same as when you were in court, you must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present and choose some evidence. Alright, I think I might know. What are we going to use for this one, then? I mean, we need to justify going to the room next door now. Oh, speckled band. Yeah, it's gonna be that, isn't it? Present. No, cannot do so. Okay, hold on. Nope, Present. There we go. I'm stupid. Present this. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-san wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band. That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what that speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? Ahem, ahem. I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment, then. Just select move. Yeah. Let's blow this popsicle sand.